As we turn back the hands of time to the 1850s, a world of rapid change and progress awaits us. This was an era marked by the thunderous wheels of the Industrial Revolution, transforming economies and societies at breakneck speed. Alongside this, the British Empire was stretching its tendrils across the globe, with the sun never setting on its vast territories. Trade routes were opening up, connecting distant lands and weaving a complex web of global commerce. Gold was becoming the lifeblood of this burgeoning world economy. In 1848, the discovery of gold in California led to a rush of prospectors, forever altering the Golden State's landscape and setting a precedent for future gold rushes. And it's here, in this world of shifting sands and golden opportunities, that we find the remote British colony of Australia, a land of untamed wilderness and untapped potential, poised on the brink of a golden era. Against this backdrop of global change and opportunity, our story unfolds in the remote British colony of Australia. In 1851, a glint in the creek bed would forever change the fate of Australia. It was Edward Hargreaves, a man who returned from the California gold rush, who first spotted the glimmering promise in the waters near Bathurst, New South Wales. He had seen the gleam of gold before, and he knew that this discovery could ignite a fever that would spread across the world. Hargreaves' find was not an accident. He had been methodically searching, guided by his experience in California, confident that the similar geological features of the Australian landscape would yield the same golden rewards. His hunch paid off, and he found himself standing on a creek bed that held the potential to transform a nation. News of Hargreaves' discovery traveled fast, despite the government's initial attempts to suppress it. They had their reasons. They feared the consequences of a gold rush, the potential for lawlessness, the drain of manpower from other essential industries, the impact on the indigenous communities. But the lure of gold was too strong, the promise of wealth too intoxicating to be contained. Once the news slipped the confines of the government offices and reached the ears of the public, there was no turning back. Men and women, young and old, native and immigrant alike, were caught in the grip of gold fever. From every corner of the globe, they converged on Australia, drawn by the promise of wealth that lay beneath its rugged terrain. Australia was no longer just a distant colony on the edge of the world. It was the new El Dorado, a land of opportunity where anyone with a pick, a pan, and a dream could strike it rich. The world had caught gold fever, and Australia was the new frontier. With the promise of gold, people from around the world flocked to Australia, dreaming of wealth and prosperity. A fevered frenzy swept across the globe, igniting a mass migration of hopeful gold diggers. As if called by the siren song of the golden nuggets hidden in the Australian soil, they came. From Europe, America, Asia, and even the distant corners of the world, they arrived in droves, their eyes gleaming with the allure of untold riches. The Australian landscape transformed almost overnight. Makeshift mining camps sprouted up like mushrooms after a spring rain, dotting the landscape with their ragged beauty. These were places of grit and determination, where men and women tested their mettle against the harsh Australian terrain. The air was thick with dust and the din of pickaxes striking earth, the relentless pursuit of wealth echoing in each strike. Yet, the gold rush was not all glitters and prosperity. Prospectors faced grueling conditions, battling scorching heat during the day and biting cold at night. They grappled with the sting of hunger and the relentless exhaustion that came with digging, sifting, and panning for gold. But in the face of adversity, their spirit remained unbroken. Their dreams of striking it rich fueled their determination, propelling them through the hardships they faced. The gold rush also brought together a melting pot of cultures and backgrounds. The mining camps became a vibrant tapestry of diverse immigrants, each with their unique stories and dreams stitched into the fabric of this newfound society. But this diversity also sparked tensions. Differences in language, customs, and beliefs often led to friction, creating a tumultuous environment that mirrored the chaos of the goldfields. However, amidst this chaos, something extraordinary was happening. As people from all walks of life toiled side by side in the pursuit of gold, they were unknowingly carving out a new Australian identity, an identity forged in the crucible of the gold rush, shaped by hardship, perseverance, and the enduring spirit of hope. In these wild, untamed lands, a new Australian identity began to take shape. Overnight, sleepy settlements transformed into bustling boomtowns, teeming with life and echoing with the clink of pickaxes. The Australian landscape was forever changed as the gold rush of the mid-1800s beckoned fortune seekers from across the globe, leading to the birth of iconic goldfields and towns. Among the most notable of these was Ballarat. Nestled in Victoria's Central Highlands, this once quiet pastoral town felt the full force of the gold rush. Seemingly out of nowhere, Ballarat's population ballooned from a few hundred to tens of thousands. Prospectors, merchants, and families converged on this newfound El Dorado, each eager to claim their share of the golden bounty. Much like Ballarat, Bendigo also experienced a meteoric rise. It was here that some of the world's richest shallow alluvial gold deposits were discovered, drawing in a sea of humanity. Bendigo's streets, once quiet and unassuming, bristled with the energy of a city in the making. The air was thick with the sounds of commerce, the sights of new buildings springing up, and the sense of diverse cuisines wafting from makeshift eateries, catering to the multicultural populace. But this rapid growth and prosperity came with its own set of challenges. Law and order struggled to keep pace with the explosion in population. These goldfield towns in their infancy were often scenes of lawlessness and disorder. Tent cities sprouted around the mines, and disputes over claims were frequent, sometimes escalating into violent confrontations. Yet, in the face of such adversity, a sense of camaraderie and community began to emerge. Miners banded together to form protective associations, pooling resources and establishing rules to keep order. They built schools for their children, churches for their faith, and theaters for their entertainment. Out of chaos, a semblance of society was being carved. The goldfields were a crucible, a place of transformation, not just for individuals, but for Australia as a nation. They were a place where people from different walks of life, different cultures, and different parts of the world came together, united by a common goal: the pursuit of gold. In this pursuit, they shaped a new identity for Australia, one that was multicultural, resilient, and tenacious. As these boomtowns grew and evolved, so too did the social fabric of Australia. The goldfields were not just about the extraction of a precious metal, they were about the forging of a nation. They were the birthplace of a new society, one that was as diverse and vibrant as the myriad of people who flocked to these golden shores. And so, as the sun set on another day in these boomtowns, the clinking of pickaxes against hard earth continued under the starlit sky, a persistent reminder of the tireless efforts of those who sought fortune and a better life. Their sweat and toil, their hopes and dreams, were all part of the rich tapestry that would become Australia's gold rush history. In the midst of chaos and gold dust, society was being reshaped. By the late 1850s, the easy pickings were gone, and the golden dream began to fade. The surface gold, so easily plucked from the earth, had dwindled. The rivers and creeks, once teeming with nuggets, were gradually exhausted. The era of the solitary miner, armed with nothing more than a pick, a shovel, and a pan, was coming to an end. As the surface gold disappeared, miners had to dig deeper and deeper into the earth. They had to form companies and pool their resources to buy the machinery needed for deep shaft mining. This was a more dangerous and expensive endeavor, and many miners were simply not up to the task. The move towards deep shaft mining also led to a change in the social fabric of the goldfields. The egalitarian spirit of the early days, when anyone could strike it rich, gave way to a more structured and hierarchical society. The rich got richer, while many of the hopeful prospectors who had come seeking their fortune found only disappointment and disillusionment. This growing sense of disillusionment found its most potent expression in the Eureka Stockade Rebellion. In December 1854, miners in Ballarat, fed up with the high cost of mining licenses and the harsh treatment by the authorities, staged a rebellion. They erected a stockade and flew a flag bearing the Southern Cross. The rebellion was brutally crushed, but it became a powerful symbol of the miners' struggle for justice and fair treatment. By the end of the 1850s, the rush was over. The makeshift mining camps and boomtowns that had sprung up overnight were gradually abandoned. The diverse immigrants who had flocked to Australia in search of gold started to settle down and build a new life in this new land. The gold rush had ended, but its impact was far from over. The gold rush had transformed Australia, bringing an influx of people, wealth, and ideas that would shape the country's future. It was the end of an era, but the beginning of a new one. The gold rush left an indelible mark on Australia, shaping its destiny in ways that still resonate today. This monumental event was not just about the extraction of a precious metal, but it also set the stage for significant changes that would forever alter the landscape of this vast continent. The most immediate and visible impact of the gold rush was a population boom. People from all corners of the globe flocked to Australia, swelling its population from a mere 400,000 in 1851 to over 1 million by 1861. This tenfold increase in a mere decade was unprecedented, and brought with it an array of cultures, languages, and traditions, creating a melting pot that would lay the foundations of modern Australia's multicultural society. The gold rush also had a profound impact on Indigenous cultures. While the rush was a time of prosperity for some, it was a period of dispossession and disruption for the Aboriginal peoples. Their lands were invaded, their resources plundered, and their way of life irrevocably altered. This darker side of the gold rush is a part of Australia's history that continues to be acknowledged and addressed today. Economically, the gold rush propelled Australia into a new era of wealth and prosperity. The newfound riches spurred the development of infrastructure, including railways, roads, and ports, which facilitated trade and helped to establish Australia as a significant player on the world stage. Lastly, the gold rush gave birth to a unique Australian identity. The shared experiences of hardship, resilience, and success forged a sense of unity and camaraderie among the diggers. This spirit of mateship, a cornerstone of Australian culture, was born in the goldfields and continues to define the Australian character to this day. The echoes of the gold rush still ring out across Australia, a testament to a time of dreams, determination, and discovery. From a glint in a creek bed to a nation transformed, the Australian gold rush was a pivotal chapter in the annals of history. Over the course of a decade, from 1851 to 1860, the world watched as Australia morphed from a quiet backwater into a bustling hub of industry and enterprise. The discovery of gold sparked an international fervor, with prospectors from all corners of the globe converging on Australia's untamed wilderness in a race for riches. The gold rush gave birth to boomtowns overnight, turning humble settlements into thriving metropolises. But more than just a tale of wealth and prosperity, the gold rush was a testament to human grit and determination. Men and women, young and old, braved unimaginable hardships, their dreams of striking it rich fueling their perseverance. The gold rush left an indelible mark on Australia, shaping its culture, economy, and national identity. We may no longer rush to the goldfields, but the spirit of the gold rush, that sense of adventure and opportunity, lives on in the heart of Australia,